I never imagined my first morning of vacation would begin with accusations of eco-terrorism hurled by a woman wielding a clipboard and clutching a trembling terrier. She marched up my gravel driveway in neon green flip-flops, eyes blazing with righteous fury, as though I'd set the forest ablaze. My crime? An unopened hummingbird feeder still sealed in its box. She poked at a pine tree and cried, "You're attracting invasive species." I figured it was a joke until 3 cop cars sped up the hill, surrounding my truck like I was smuggling contraband. That's when I quietly pulled out the deed, not only to the cabin, but to the ridge, all 250 acres, including the same land her big vacation house was illegally encroaching on. Just a few days before, I'd left behind the relentless energy of city life, emails, traffic, deadlines, for some opportunity to take a breath. The cabin left to me by my deceased uncle, nestled deep in the Blue Ridge Mountains. The road in was more like a ribbon of gravel being reabsorbed by the forest. That first evening, I sat on the porch, coffee in my hand, allowing the quiet to seep like medicine. Then Diane, no greeting, no welcome mat, simply a clipboard held aloft like a badge of office. "You are breaking Section 3C of the Silver Pines Environmental Code," she snapped. I explained to her that this was private property, in my family for years, and I was there to get away from it all. She sneered, holding close to her dog. "That feeder attracts hummingbirds. Hummingbirds attract predators. Predators pose a risk to our pets." I grinned instinctively. That's when she contorted and she called the police. "He's aggressive. He's an ecological hazard," she yelled. Some way, she already had my name and address. When the officers came, I produced my deed. One of them read it twice, eyebrows raised. "Sir, this indicates that you own the whole ridge." I nodded. Diane, standing behind him, went white. Another officer verified that the deed was recorded 2 decades earlier. Diane stuttered, charging me with forgery, but the officers weren't convinced. They departed. The stillness returned, but not the peace. That evening, I toured the property and found something even more alarming. Fence posts knocked out of place, survey markers missing, and notices posted indicating portions of my land as Silver Pines HOA property, no trespassing. This wasn't about birds. This was a power play. The next morning, she returned, taping a flyer to a tree at the edge of my driveway. "Unauthorized structure under investigation. Fines pending," it read, complete with a forged seal and her name as enforcer. I bought trail cameras, posted private property signs, and set up a drone. If she wanted a battle, I'd fight with facts. For a couple of days, she was nowhere to be seen. But on the third morning, I saw her on her deck mobilizing neighbors, waving signs and pointing in the direction of my cabin. Shortly afterward, new posters started popping up, each listing new infractions: improper disposal of waste, unlawful solar panels, ungrounded digging. But my cameras recorded it all. Diane, trespassing onto my property at midnight, distributing posters, playing with boundary stakes. I wrote a cease and desist letter, supported by my deed and video, and personally served it. She opened the door wearing a bathrobe, sunglasses covering her eyes. She screamed allegations of harassment. "Your feeder is still non-compliant," she yelled as I turned away. Soon, another officer came by. I took him to see the tape. He labeled it what it was, harassment, and reminded Diane she was into criminal issues. He also recommended formal no trespassing signs. In hours, Diane was yelling at that same officer in her driveway. Neighbors observed. One gestured toward my cabin and shook his head. Her control was eroding. Then the hasty message on my gate: "Community watch area, photographed violators, report suspicious mountain man." Red ink, frantic scribble. I removed it and rearranged my cameras, tagging important areas with pink flags and a dummy toolbox. At night, the motion alerts chimed. Footage revealed Diane, in camo, removing flags, taking photos, flinging markers into the underbrush. At the county office, I discovered the bombshell. Her huge deck and outdoor kitchen jutted 30 feet onto my property. The survey had been either bungled or forged. I cordoned off the land with orange ribbon and a sign. Survey pending. Property dispute active. She stormed down the hill, accusing me of vandalism. I stood firm, referencing records and her trespassing. A second officer verified the encroachment. He knew her by name. The following day, a drone flew over, then returned to Diane's residence. A code enforcement officer showed up, acting on yet another anonymous complaint. Seeing nothing, he grumbled, "She emails every day. I wanted to construct a lawful 12-foot observation tower on my property." County approved. When the building commenced, Diane glared across her lawn, taking photos as if it was a crime scene. Next, a petition. Take down the tower. Charges of commercial use, of dynamite. Diane had rechristened herself Community Defense Coordinator. I phoned Ed, a retired surveyor and neighbor. He'd not seen the petition, but provided something better: ancient maps demonstrating that her deck, and more, were on my property. Her subsequent HOA meeting collapsed. Neighbors quarreled, some stormed out, one burst into tears. Within a few days, she made a wildlife complaint that my tower was harming protected birds. An environmental officer went and found no nests. No problem. He rolled his eyes. During the county hearing, my lawyer Nathan laid out a spotless, deadly case. Deed, surveys, footage. Diane retaliated with amateur posters, one with flames engulfing my cabin, another saying the tower was a surveillance center. The verdict came quickly. Her HOA charter she brandished, outside. Her claims of conspiracy, ducked out the door. Her neighbors turned on her. Even one apologized to me. Diane had a choice from the county: tear down the deck or buy the land. She knocked on my door, dejected, providing a signed commitment to refrain from all HOA enforcement and vacate my land. I referred her to the HOA headquarters sign still hanging over her deck. She silently pulled it down. The mountain sat quietly for a bit, but Diane couldn't help but one last time. A trail cam photographed her destroying my tower's camera and ladder. I complained. Deputies fined her, issued a no-contact order, and officially ended her rule. Neighbors emerged with tales, threats, complaints, bullying. I threw a barbecue, not to triumph, but to reconnect. Laughter rang across the ridge. Dogs snoozed, kids played. Diane's blinds remained shut. That winter I received a call. Her house was for sale. I purchased it under an LLC, under the radar, no ceremony. She departed at dawn, her tires crunching on frost. I renovated the property, turning it into Lookout Loggia, a no-cost sanctuary for hikers, veterans, and volunteers. The community came together. Healing occurred. One day I discovered a rusted boundary stake hidden in the ground, a remnant of her war. From the tower above, I viewed the sunset drip over the ridge. The lodge glowed below. This was never about winning. It was about peace. And now every tree, every trail was mine.